So I want to do a little exercise here. And I'm just going to put this code aside for a second. Let's just get this out of sight, out of mind. All right. So I want to do a little exercise here because we need to understand something about how lists can be used with a custom function. If I have a list, let's say I have a list of names, right? Bill, Dave, Sally. There we go. Okay, so there's a list of names. And let's say I want to create a custom function that adds a name to that list. Okay, so I'm going to create a custom function that adds a name to that list. So obviously I need to ask the user for a name, and then I need to do the work of adding it to that list. So the proper way to work with a list in a custom function like this is to pass the list as a parameter to that function. You're giving the whole list to that function, and then inside the function, you're modifying that list by adding a name to it, and then you're returning the new list that includes the name. And then you're putting that back into li names. So let's take a look at how that would look. So I'm going to create a function called add name, and it's going to take a list as its parameter. And so what I'm going to do, str name, I'm going to get it from the user, the new name. Okay, so what is the name to add as an input? And then I'm going to append the name that they give me to the end of the list. Not li names, but the list that exists inside the function, so li data. So I'm operating with what I get inside that function. Li data, append, str name. Okay, so I've added that name to the list, only the one inside the function though. Now I need to return that. So I'm going to return li data. I'm going to send that back out into the universe. So now when I want to use that function, right, I'm going to, let's create a program that just infinitely adds names. So I'm going to go while true, and I'm going to use self-assignment to catch the new list when it comes back. So it's going to go from li names. I'm going to pass that into the function. The function's going to do its stuff. It's going to return it, and I'm going to catch it back inside that same variable so that infinitely that list just keeps growing. So let's go li names equals add name, and I'm going to give it li names as a function. So this basically says we're going to call this function, we're going to give it the main list that's out there, li names, that starts with those three names. And when it comes back from the function, when I return that data, I'm catching it back in this variable. And then after that, I'm going to print that list so we can see what the new list is. Print li names. So this is how I'm working with a function that does something to a list. I'm passing the list in, I'm returning the list at the end of the function, catching it back in that same variable. And let's run this and check it out. So what is the name to add? Sam. Okay, so there I've added that, and it says what is the name to add? Joe. So each time I add that name, it's adding it to that list, and then it's returning it, and then it gets put back in the main li names, and then we print it out. Everybody following how that workflow works? Now, the reason I'm spending some time on this is because, number one, it's relevant specifically to how we do the assignment for this week. But it's also a paradigm that people avoid because people often feel uncomfortable passing an entire list or a huge data structure into a function and then retrieving that back out. And that's totally normal thing to do. Okay, so you're giving that function black box access to that data structure. So that is the appropriate way to do that, because then this function, I can take that and put it anywhere. All I need to know is that it takes a list as an argument and spits a list back out. That's the same. Okay, so that is how we want to work with custom functions and lists.